Have you ever had to do mindless work in Excel and want to learn an Excel programming language but you don't know where to start? Hi, my name is Jacob. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, you'll learn how to automate Excel reports, how to automate copy and paste in Excel, the easiest way to repeat something using a programming language, and how to automate data entry. So let's get right into it. You might want to learn a programming language for Excel but you don't know where to start, and that might make you feel frustrated or like you're wasting your time doing all of this data entry by hand and you want to automate that. So let's get started with a seemingly easy question to answer, but there is a very important distinction to make. And this is what this question is about. So here it is. Is Excel a programming language? Well, let me tell you right now, it's not. Excel is a spreadsheet program. It's not a programming language. However, in Excel, you can create what we call in programming language terms a variable. The difference is in Excel, they are referred to as cells. In Excel, we use the location of the cell to get to what is inside that cell. In a programming language, we use the name of the variable to get to what is inside that variable. So for example, in Excel, you can calculate the average of the data in a column. And once the formula is set up, you can change the data in that column and it's going to calculate the average automatically. So the point is, there are similarities with a real programming language. So although Excel is not a programming language, it has a programming language, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. The point is, creating formulas, graphs, tables, and charts is really different from using a programming language. So what's the difference? To put it in simple words, Excel can do automatic calculation and visualize data. A programming language can use Excel the way you use it. For example, it can auto-populate data from multiple sheets to a master Excel file, automate data entry in Excel, automate sending emails, create an automated tracking system, create an automated employee scheduling, or go from Excel to PDF or from PDF to Excel. So now let me give you a few Excel programming language examples. And the first one I will talk about is MATLAB. So this one is really easy to use, but you have to pay for it, so I won't go on and on about it. But the point is, you can use the functions XLSRead and XLSWrite for Excel automation. Basically, XLSRead is to extract data from an Excel file, and XLSWrite is to write data into an Excel file. The second programming language you can use is VBA. So I already talked about the fact that Excel has a programming language pre-installed, so that's the one. It's an object-oriented programming language, and don't worry, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but what a lot of beginners told me about trying to learn it is that it's not super user-friendly at all. Now, the problem beginners usually have is that most people who talk about VBA have an extensive programming background. So for those people, it's easy, but not necessarily for beginners. So if you do want to know whether you should learn VBA or not, I created a video specifically to answer that question. You can just click on the link that appears right now to access it. I also explain what object-oriented programming is in that video. Now the next Excel programming language example is Python. That's the one I'll be focusing on in this video. It's easy to use and yet still extremely powerful. And of course, it's free. You do need to install it though, so if you can't install anything, you'll need to find a workaround. Otherwise, you just install it. It's really easy to do. Now let's get started with the first code example you need to automate Excel reports, and I will show you exactly how to do it and what the structure is in a second. The structure is called a for loop. You can create a master Excel file by extracting data from different sheets and using a for loop to write all of the data in that master file. Now let's see what it actually looks like. So here it is. So let me explain a very simple way to think about what it's used for. It's just a simple way to repeat something a certain amount of time. And how many times do you want to repeat the instructions? Well, whatever the number is, you're going to put it there. And that's it. That's all you need to know if you want to repeat something a certain amount of time. Now let me give you an example to see exactly what I mean. If you want to create a master Excel file, the instructions will be writing into a cell of that master file. And you'll want to repeat that for as many times as you'll have cells in the sheets that you extracted the data from. So to come back to what I was saying earlier, the number of times here is going to be referring to the number of cells in a specific sheet. Now I don't want to overwhelm you with information right from the start, so I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to explain step by step how to automate Excel reports later on in this video. And I'll tell you exactly how you can use for loops to do that, so now let's move on. Second example, move, copy, rename, create, remove folders and files. How is that going to help? Why is that important? When you want to automate an Excel report, and I'll explain step by step how to do that in a second, there are a number of things you're going to want to do. You might want to create a new folder to put the new Excel file. You might want to remove an existing report to replace it with the new one and rename it to add the date when it was created. Remember that when you have the ability to automate Excel reports, they're going to start accumulating, so you're going to want to be very organized. Otherwise, you're going to get lost real fast. Now let's see a real example. Now this is how you can move and rename any file in a specific location. Now that is the syntax, so you don't need to know anything about it. You just copy and paste that part and that's it. So what do you need to know? You need to know that this is where your file is and this is where you want your file to be. So with just that line of code, you can move the automated Excel report you created to a specific folder and rename it. So again, to make sure you get how simple it is to use, the destination is the location to which you want to move your file, and the source is where the file is. And that's it. Just knowing that part will be enough to create a basic report, and I'll explain why in a second. But let's move on for now. Third example, automate copy and paste in Excel. In order to automate Excel reports, you're going to want to copy and paste cells from one sheet to another, or from one sheet to another file. Now, when it comes to automating that part, it's a bit different from doing it by hand, just because you don't have to specify the cell to copy. You just select the entire sheet, and then you select the cell you want to paste. So let me show you what it looks like. So here it is. That's the only line you need to know if you want to copy and paste cells from one location to another. So let me explain how it works. So first, what does it do? It's going to take row 1, column 1 of the sheet you selected. So this is the variable where you selected the sheet. I didn't put that part in the code because I didn't want to waste your time with the things that are less important, but that's really easy to figure out. And it's going to copy it into the master sheet of the master file that you want to create. And where exactly in that master sheet is that going to copy it? Well, in row 3, column 5. Actually, let me show you how to select a sheet in an Excel file. You can skip that part if you don't want to waste your time. I just wanted to include it here in case you want to refer to it later. So here it is. That's the basic syntax. Now, what does the 0 refer to? 0 refers to the first sheet in an Excel file. 1 would refer to the second sheet in an Excel file, and so on and so forth. That's the only thing you need to be careful about when you select a sheet. Select the right one. So now that you know the main examples you need, let me give you a step-by-step action plan to automate Excel reports. Step 1, use a template. The easiest way to automate Excel reports is to use an existing template, and you do that by moving the template to the location where you want to create the Excel report, and refer to earlier on in this video where I explain exactly how to do that. Step 2, select the sheet to get the data. Refer to the code in the video where I show you how to do that, and select the sheet that you want to copy the data from. Step 3, copy and paste the data. Copy and paste the cells you want using a for loop. All you need to do is take the for loop that I showed you earlier and replace the instructions part with the copying and pasting of a cell that I showed you. Let's say you have a specific column you want to put in your Excel report. Then you'll want to repeat the copy and paste action as many times as you'll have cells in that column. For example, if you have 3 cells in that column, then in the range function that I showed you earlier, you'll put 3 in between the parentheses and you're done. Now, to be clear, there are things that I left out in this video because I don't want to bore you with details that don't matter. But I don't want you to get overwhelmed trying to piece things together because you could end up wasting your time and develop an aversion to programming, whereas it's not hard. That's the reason why I created a free online course to help you with that. You can click on the link in the description to get it. Have a great day and see you in the next video.